In and around Boston today, an intense series of anti-terror drills. You may have even seen or heard some of them. It's called Urban Shield Boston, and you are looking at live pictures from the waterfront where first responders are reacting to a simulated terror attack. As our Amalia Barada reports, this is as close to real as it gets.
They certainly looked like the real deal on a real mission. In this case, SWAT team members were training to rescue hostages held aboard this ferry boat in Winthrop. At the Quincy shipyard, it was a tight squeeze for urban search and rescue teams undergoing training exercises to rescue victims from a mock collapsed building. Captain Jim Welch is with the Boston Fire Department.
We're training for situations that may not happen very often. It could be once every 5 or 6 years, an earthquake, a terrorist attack.
It's all about safety. And the more you practice, the more you prepare, the better outcomes you'll have. It's proven.
These exercises are going on continuously for 24 hours with hundreds of emergency responders from a number of communities and even from out of state. It is all part of Urban Shield, a massive event under the umbrella of Homeland Security aimed at testing the region's emergency response capabilities at every level. Smaller communities like Winthrop say it is especially beneficial for them.
We don't have the resources here in Winthrop that will be needed in the case an event like this does happen. And we need to test our officers' abilities, our equipment abilities, and also our relationships with other communities to make sure we can get the resources into Winthrop.
So Urban Shield is also about coordination of agencies on a large scale down to the smallest detail so that any kind of disaster can be handled with minimum risk to the public. As for the training part of it, the attitude is there can never be too much of it.
Most people here, I'd say, are pretty seasoned veterans, whether you're a fire department or you're an EMS person. Most people have seen a lot, but you've never seen it all.
In Quincy, Amalia Barreda, News Center 5.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, May 23rd, 2011. I'm Darko. This is part 4, the final part for today, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My website is www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. And I have some interesting news here in this last video, some beneficial health information, along with Obama's trip to his homeland now. So he's got so many homelands. I'm getting confused here. Kenya, they were saying welcome home, and now Ireland, welcome home. He's just an everyman, I guess, huh? So anyways, here we go, and we'll finish up with police state and Middle East news. Does drinking lots of coffee really help to prevent breast cancer? And it says here that coffee addiction may not be the detriment to health. Many people think it's according to a new study. And it says here, postmental women over 50 who drink 5 or more cups of coffee a day might be as much as 50% less likely to develop estrogen receptor negative tumors, says research from Sweden. But it goes down here, it says, on the other hand, coffee consumption played no role in reducing the risk of ER-positive cancers, indicating that something unique to ER-negative varieties is sensitive to coffee. ER-negative breast cancers are typically the most difficult to treat with conventional medicine, as many breast cancer drugs have no effect on them. And this is something you want to check out too, is however drinking too much coffee can lead to dehydration, which is why I don't drink coffee. I just drink spring water now, distilled water, hypertension, and then you have and even mineral leaching from the bones. It says the high acidity of the coffee can also upset proper digestive function, leading to various other health problems, including kidney stones, which isn't fun. Drug addiction and rehabilitation in Draconian, Singapore. And they have, it says here, Singapore is renowned for its draconian drug laws, which stipulate a mandatory custodial sentence for even the most trivial transgressions. And it goes on here, says the former British colony is really one of the harshest environments in the world in which drug users or addicts can operate, and yet, according to official statistics, 1,800 drug abusers were arrested last year. So it just goes to show you that the war on drugs never works. You just legalize them, let people put in their bodies what they want to, because it's their property, it's their life. And quit wasting taxpayers' dollars on this, because really, what is it used for? Just like those drills that you just saw, it's used for us, dude. It's just used for cracking down on people who are trying to voice their opinion. That's all it's used for. I mean, think about it. I'm going to get to the story about a former Marine, 2 tours in Iraq, came home and was SWAT teamed and shot in his own home, and he never fired a shot, and they shot him 70 times. 70 times. Over what? Oh, because they were doing a couple raids on the same block for drugs. See? So it just goes to show you what happens. the collateral damage in that. Internet addicted kids more depressed. New study reveals 24-hour water fast is good for your heart. So is a juice fast. That's really good for your cleansing your colon and your guts, like I was talking about last video. And in regards to the meat, crossing arms may lower pain, says scientists. Moderate drinking in old protects dementia. Go figure. So people that old people that are no longer in these old people homes, these nursing homes, scientists found that they actually have lower amounts of dementia when they're not in those hospitals, when they're with other people at home or with their family or friends. And now they're finding, moderate drinking in old protects against dementia. So my grandfather, who's still, was almost 90 years old, he's like 85, 90, and he's still living alone. He's got his wits about him. He goes out now. He's doing like swing dancing and stuff. And I remember when I was a kid and I lived with him, with my mom when my parents got divorced, he'd have his little, he'd sit there and watch, Jeopardy or whatever, and have his little drink and stuff like that every night. And he wasn't a drunk, but go figure. Everything's demonized, it seems like, But they don't want you to basically self-medicate. Not saying that, I'm a big proponent of self-medication to the point that, you're doing it every day to the extreme. But, it's like, some people will drink, some people will smoke marijuana for whatever reasons. But no, they're supposed to take pills. You're supposed to take those pharma pills so that you can get suicidal and want to kill yourself. Okay, going back to this, Exoplanet Gliese 581d could sustain life, says report. And then Quake, locals sick of celebrity rubberneckers in Christchurch. It says that residents of the quake-shattered Christchurch want to know why celebrities, royals, and foreign politicians are allowed into the CBD's off-limits red zone while they're left to peer from behind a fence. That's what it's all about, fundraising for eugenics. Evil drunk birds are falling from the sky in Darwin. And it says despite tough laws on alcohol consumption across the territory, a vet was preparing for another season of alcohol-fueled avian vertigo. And it says the noisy birds for creating a racket at the Friday Palmerston markets on the outskirts of Darwin. That's cool. I've been around there, act in a drunk manner and then fall over. And I said that the birds were unlikely to be drinking alcohol, but might eat from a plant that causes them to be drunk. Now, I keep hearing these lame excuses. Like there was one they were talking about overeating. Or, I think it was like overeating or not. Yeah, that's something like that. Ridiculous, basically. And it was the same ridiculous reason for why these birds are falling out of the sky, because scientists, and they don't know. Honestly, I think they don't know. They're just coming up with all kinds of BS excuses because they really don't understand it. But we are going through a cooling period in some parts of the world, and some birds are not, I don't know, it's just like a sudden cooling, and they not finding food, and they're just dying. Also, you have the magnetic field and magnetic north fluctuating significantly. So, and the scientists just found out that birds, or they probably already knew, but that birds basically navigate through the magnetic field. So if that's distorted, I can see that being distorted as well. I do remember in the Northern Territory when I was in Darwin, all the bats in the trees. Those things are crazy. There was just like thousands of bats in these trees. Flying drunk proves fatal for bird flocks. So, and this is the same thing. Black Sea of Constanța in Romania last week were simply drunk, so that's their excuse. Europe air routes still open despite Iceland volcano. Ash from Iceland volcano may drift over UK. More violent weather expected across midsection this week, talking about Midwest. Of course, they're going to be spraying like they have been today, heavily spraying and pulsing us with ELF, so you can see the ripples in the sky. Obama visits family roots in Ireland. Also, I can tell when they're doing it a lot because my joints hurt. This morning when there wasn't that much going on, my joints didn't hurt. And at night sometimes when they're not spraying or you don't see the ripples, usually you'll feel a little bit better. Obama visits family roots in Ireland, so that's his family roots. Obama comes home to Ireland. Protesters to greet U.S. President in UK. Obama's beast did not get stuck on Dublin ramp. Then we have Barack Obama or Barry Soetoro, whichever you prefer, leaves for UK one day early to avoid ash cloud. Very symbolic right there. He brings an ash cloud with him. Georgians call on president to resign. Polls show Swedes want king to abdicate his throne. And then we have U.S. educated businessman Gerard Rouzier named Haiti's new prime minister. That's right. This guy is just like Martelli. He's just got, I don't know, he's not going to be good for the Haitian people, man. This guy represents all kinds of electric power corporations and stuff like that, like Martelli, who's in with the generals in the police state and has his own nightclub. And rebel Benghazi slayings target Gaddafi agents, shot him right dead and square in the head between the eyes. Russia slams NATO strikes on Libya. In Libya, British attack helicopters to be deployed even though they're going bankrupt in their own country, cutting social programs. Libyan opposition envoy says no talks with Gaddafi, so they don't even want to talk to him. NATO doesn't want to talk to him. They all just want to kill Gaddafi, I guess. Yemeni, and Gaddafi's calling for a ceasefire. Yemeni leader says he'll leave, warns of al-Qaeda. Then Yemen leader again balks at leaving. This is the third or fourth time. Says here, U.S. urges Yemeni president to transfer power. So I guess that means they're going to go over there and start bombing Yemen. And then Syria death toll from violence tops 900. UN 300 killed in Tunisia uprising. And then we have Egyptian uprising hero says social networks were crucial. Yeah, they were crucial in starting that, wasn't they? Says number of tourists to Egypt decreased by 46%. So good going, man. You basically hurt Egypt's not main, but one of the main sources of income for that country, which is tourism. So good job, man. And I know they're, uprising for democracy and freedom, but it's a bunch of hooey. We don't have that. We'll never have that. We're slaves, guys. Until you have no government, you will not be free. You never will. British end military mission in Iraq. Hooray! Guantanamo Bay appeal rejected in U.S. Supreme Court, and CIA stage mock execution wielding a power drill in interrogations, including a gun and power drill during interrogation session with detainees. The agency was desperate to persuade to talk, according to the long-secret internal CIA report, expected to release on Monday. Then Supreme Court upholds order for California to cut prison population, and hopefully they'll get rid of all those non-violent criminal offenders. But to me, I don't even believe in prisons, because I think that justice should be carried out by the victims' families and friends instead of the state. Report intelligence unit told before 9/11 to stop tracking bin Laden. So yeah, of course, the CIA is going to tell basically everybody else to stop tracking their own asset working for them. U.S. Pakistan near open war. Chinese ultimatum warns Washington against attack. Saudi Arabia, UAE funded jihadi networks in Pakistan, says WikiLeaks, and U.S. drone strike kills 7 in Pakistan. War in Pakistan. It turns to China for a naval base, so now they're going to have China come in there and have a naval base sitting right outside Pakistan. So China's creeping into Africa and other places. And the Gulf of Aden, David Headley alleges Pakistan role in Mumbai attacks. And then we move on here. Judge denies bail for Florida clerics in terror case. And these guys really are just clerics. I covered basically the family back in Pakistan and the actual madrasa or Muslim, I guess you call it, church. But and the people even showed the church and are like, we need money. These guys don't have that much money, and they give whatever they have to support this back in Pakistan in their homeland. So they're not supporting jihadists. It's a bunch of bull. They just needed somebody to to pin it on, because they went in to raid bin Laden, and they didn't like that because they want to be a sovereign state. Obama's Jewish state reference jars Palestinians. Obama reiterated his request that the Palestinians drop their plans to appeal for recognition at the UN this fall. And it says here, most difficult for the Palestinians is Obama's call to recognize Israel as a Jewish homeland, essentially requiring the Palestinians to accept that most refugees will be denied the right to return to what is now Israel. And I always think that's crazy, because it was, it's my belief that it was Ashkenazi Jews that carried out the Holocaust against the rest of the Jews, because they thought that they were inferior. And basically they got their own state out of it. And anyone who criticizes that is basically a Holocaust denier and a racist and anti-Semitic. And they'll tell you that Zionism doesn't exist. Hamas to Obama, we won't recognize Israel. U.S. lawmakers forced to support Israel, says Cynthia McKinney. That's right, they got to sign something. Most Israelis share Netanyahu's position in 1967 lines. Israel approves new West Bank settlement construction. Palestinian Prime Minister suffers a heart attack, just like Mubarak. Spirit of Rachel Corrie bound for Gaza. Oath Keepers, and here's the story on the Marine who got shot. You might want to check that out. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.